Hello, good morning. Today we're going to be solving two-step equations with rational numbers. So first question is, what are rational numbers? Rational numbers are any positive and negative number that can be written as a fraction. Okay, so this includes all of our positive and negative whole numbers, all of our positive and negative numbers with that are fractions, and all of our positive and negative numbers that have decimals. Okay, so let's first look at these fill in the blanks. Equations with rational numbers can be solved just like any other equation, just like we did with one-step equations. Okay, but you must first follow the rules for integer operations. I'm going to quickly review those with you and then let you guys have a chance to work on just some integer problems before we get into working with integers with our equations. Okay, so here we have our review. So adding integers, remember, if the two values have the same sign, then we add and keep the sign. Okay, so if we add two positives, we add, it stays a positive. If we have two negatives, we add and it stays a negative. Now, what's different is if the signs are different, then we have to subtract and keep the sign of the number that's larger. Okay, and then you see the two examples. 6 plus negative 5, of course, 6 is higher, so it is a positive answer. And then the second one, negative 6 plus 5, negative 6 is higher, so it stays a negative. Okay? Then we subtract integers. We always just rewrite the problem to adding the opposite, and then we follow the rules for adding integers. So if we're looking here, 6 minus 7, we would change it to 6 plus negative 7. And then we could take and solve it. Negative 7 is higher. We know our answer is going to be a negative. And it's negative 1 because we subtract since we have opposite signs. Okay, of course, negative 9 minus 11 would become negative 9 plus negative 11, which, since we have same signs, we would keep a negative sign, and it would become negative 20. Okay, our next example, negative 3 minus 8, okay, becomes negative 3 plus negative 8. I forgot the negative sign there. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, negative 3 plus negative 8, and then we would have negative 11. Okay, so just remember we always change it to adding the opposite of whatever sign we have. Alright, here are, oops, trying to go forward, it won't let me. Okay, here we go. Here are our integer rules for multiplying and dividing. Okay, of course, if the signs are the same, our answer is always going to be positive. Same is true when we're dividing. If our signs are the same when we're dividing, they're always going to be a positive answer. If we have different signs when we multiply or divide, then we always get a negative answer. And I've given you guys like this so that you can have in your notes. You might need to copy some of it down. Okay, now we're going to quickly go through practicing our integers. So our first one, we've got negative 6 plus negative 19. Okay, we have two negatives, so we know our answer is a negative, and we add the two numbers together, we get negative 25. All right, our next one, we have 5 minus 32. We change it to adding the opposite. We subtract and keep the sign that's higher, so when we subtract, we get 27. Negatives are higher, so our answer is negative 27. Our next one, we've got 14 plus negative 27. Because I have opposite signs, we would subtract, which is 13, keep the sign of the one that's greater, which makes it a negative. Then we have negative 11 minus 8. Okay, negative 11, we would change it to, negative 8 or minus 8 to plus a negative 8. So we have negative 11 plus negative 8, which gives us negative 19. All right, our next one, I've got negative 8 times negative 9. Okay, we have two negatives. We get a positive since we have two of the same. That gives us 72. Now I have negative 14 times 3. We have opposite signs, meaning we're going to get a negative answer. This is 42. Negative 24 divided by 4, we know is negative 6 because we have a negative and a positive. Then we have negative 35 divided by negative 7, which is positive 5. Okay, just a quick review for our integer rules. Now we're going to solve equations that have positive and negative numbers. Okay, we haven't had very many up until this point. All right, so first things first, I'm going to draw my line. Then remember, our first step is to always add or subtract using inverse operations. So I have plus 9 right here, which means I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. That's going to give me negative 4k. Then I have 32 minus 9, which is 23. Okay, my next step is to then take and divide by negative 4. So I've got 23 divided by negative 4, and I get negative 5 and 3/4, or negative 5 and 75/100. Okay, then check our answer. So I'm going to substitute it back in. I've got negative 4 times negative 5 and 75/100 plus 9. All right, I'm going to multiply first. Negative 4 times negative 5 and 75/100 gives me 23. 23 plus 9 is 32. And we have the correct answer. Okay, here's our next one. Again, make sure you draw your line. Because I'm subtracting 14 now, I'm going to add 14 to both sides. Okay, leaves me with x divided by 2. This is 20 plus 14, which is 34. And now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And I get x equals 68. Okay, I'm going to substitute in. So 68 divided by 2 minus 14. 68 divided by 2 is 34. 34 minus 14 gives me 20. Alright, let's go on and work through these. Okay, again, draw my line. Do the opposite, which is to subtract 8. This leaves me with 3x. This negative 10 minus 8 gives me negative 18. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Leaves me x. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. Okay, my next one, going to add 10 to both sides first. Okay, that leaves me with negative 2x equals 15 plus 10, which is 25. Then divide by negative 2, which is giving me 25 divided by negative 2, which is negative 12 and a half. Okay, here's our next one. Going to first subtract 7 from both sides. That gives me x over 6. Negative 11 minus 7 is negative 18. Going to then take and multiply by 6. Negative 18 times 6 gives me negative 108. So x is negative 108. I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. Leaves me x over negative 3. 30 minus 20 is 10. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 3. So x is equal 10 times negative 3, which is negative 30. Alright, here's our next one. First, subtract 7 from both sides. Leaves me with negative 2x. Negative 32 minus 7 is negative 39. Okay, then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. So negative 39 divided by negative 2. X equals positive 19 and a half, because negative divided by negative is a positive. Alright, and our last one, we're going to add 15 to both sides. Alright, we're left with x divided by negative 2. Negative 35 plus positive 15 gives me negative 20. Now I'm going to take and multiply both sides by negative 2. Alright, so I'm left with x equals negative 20 times negative 2, which is just 40. Okay, if, let's see, there's one more page. Alright, so now we're looking at this problem. It says Margot solved several equations and then states that all of them have a solution of x equals 7. However, Kenneth disagrees. Determine which of the following equations have a solution of x equals 7, and then justify your response. I want you guys to try this one on your own before you come back to the video to check your work. So go ahead, hit pause, work through this problem, and then come back and double check your work. Okay, so welcome back. We are now going to just tackle this problem together. So the easiest way to see which one's correct is to just take and solve these equations. Now I can work through them by substituting the 7 in and see if it works, like check my answers, or I can just work these out the other way where we're working through the problem. So I'm going to just check to see if 7 is going to be the correct answer for these. So I'm going to substitute it in. So 6 times 7 plus 11, and then I'm going to solve through it. So I get 42 plus 11 does equal, oh no, it equals 53. So she's already wrong. Alright, so this one would not give me 7. Alright, negative 3 times 7 minus 18, which gives me negative 21 minus 18, which would give me negative 39, and not a positive 39. So again, she's not correct on that one. Alright, 2 times 7 minus 14. So she's 14 minus 14, which is 0. So nope, she's wrong on that one. And 7 times 7 plus 9. So I get 49 plus 9. 49 plus 9 actually does equal 58. So your response would be something to the effect of Margot was incorrect. X equals 7 only works on letter choice D, so that Kenneth was actually correct on this. Okay, however you want to phrase that, make sure you use complete sentences. You guys go ahead, and your assignment for today is to do the two-step equation riddle that is posted for you. If you do have any questions, email me, or I will see you later in Zoom. Have a great day. See you later.